On today's DNVR Broncos podcast, we are hearing from Sean Payton. He took accountability and explained what happened on that final play. Plus, we're assigning blame on who lost the Broncos game. And then we are breaking down the Broncos defense and having a conversation with our friend Adam Hoge. And it all starts now. Show on today's DNVR Broncos podcast, and we are diving into it in the Toyota Lounge, driven by your local Front Range Toyota stores, presented by Bet365. Use that code DNVR365 when you sign up. Deposit $10, place a $5 bet, and you're going to get $200 in bonus bets right off the get-go. We got a huge show today, fellas, but before we dive in, I just want to say hello. I'm happy to be back with you guys.
Yeah, bro, it's weird that like you and I go from, I mean, last week was even more, but we go to like the end of the week and the whole weekend and the beginning of the week without doing a show together.
I know.
It feels weird.
It's crazy.
Right.
Henry, you're the mainstay. You're just driving us.
I am the mainstay. Well, Benny's gone. Benny also kind of drove us through that weekend.
Yep. It's nice to have different perspectives jump in and be able to catch up. And yesterday, we officially got to hear Sean's perspective after he gets to watch the tape. And he talked about what happened at the end of the Broncos game. And before we hear from Sean, just want to give a shout out to everyone that's tuning in. We have Elonzo saying, welcome back, Zach. Great to be back. We also have some people becoming members of the supporters club, including a familiar face. Ryan Koenigsberg just upgraded his membership to the MVP, or no, Hall of Fame level.
Yeah, you got to do it because I actually think those behind-the-scenes videos are some of the best content that we create.
Yep.
Like, I finally figured out how to do it. Well, I didn't do it on, I wasn't not upgraded on purpose. I just couldn't figure out how to upgrade. Just got to be on your desktop. Doesn't work on your phone. So I finally upgraded. I watched the first video that we put out, the first behind the scenes one. I was like, this is the best stuff.
Wow.
This is great.
Did you see who the other MVP, other supporters club member we got was, Zach?
Bjorn?
Bjorn. I wanted you to see the whole thing, but you can't see it now. Bjorn Skandinavsky.
But that really rolled off your tongue.
Well, I've been practicing in my head. I wanted to see you on your
impressed.
first attempt. Bjorn Skandinavsky.
Bjorn Janvinaski. I can't even do it, even after hearing you do it immediately before.
Shout out, Bjorn.
And then you hear scroll up a little bit. I want to give a shout out to our friend Damon, who's also in there, dropped an LFB, one of the perks you get. We really appreciate everyone who's rocking and rolling with us. And when we're giving shout outs, I want to give a shout out to Big Brothers, Big Sisters, where you can donate just right through YouTube. You can do it on the mobile app as well. Make sure to donate, give to them. It is Big Brothers, Big Sisters month here at DNVR and in the country and world. So make sure to give to a great cause.
By the way, we are getting crushed by CHGO fans in terms of who is donating the most.
Can't have that.
So, if you can spare a few bucks for the kids, it would mean a lot.
Denver's a giving place. Let's
prove
prove that. Let's prove it. And Sean Payton, guys, yesterday he was in a protective mood. I want to say giving because he gave a lot of protection to everyone in the organization when talking about what happened on the final field goal. So yesterday, Sean was asked at the very start of his day after the game press conference, do you treat this similar to how you treated the Kansas City game, where we all know how that ended in Kansas City, and you protect the person and make sure that it's not just all blame on one person? Here's Sean's about 2-minute answer on this, where he goes very in depth about what happened on that play.
We had a certain field goal block in the event of a game-ending field goal, much like the PAT where Justin Simmons jumps cleanly and blocks the PAT in New Orleans. But that's on me in that situation. And look, it's not on Darren. It's not on Tillman. With a 60-yard field goal attempt, it's different. The alignment got wrong, and the call was correct. you can, as a defensive line, you can push down on the back of the center and offensive lineman. You can push down on the back, specifically if you're going to go internally on the guards. You can push down. You can't push to jump. So a common block would be to push down with one player and then to clear jump with another. The alignment got mixed up between Tillman and one of the other tackles. The call was correct. That was leveraging. You can't put your hands and to elevate yourself off one of your own guys or off one of the opponent players. But my big regret flying home was, that's more for a closer field goal. That's more for a gimme than a 60-yard attempt, and that's on me. We had
tons there. I mean, he packed a lot in there. And the thing, man, Sean's been burned by this multiple times now. The Broncos were on the right side of the Justin Simmons one. Sean was on the wrong side of that, but that's the type of play he wanted to do. And as he admits there, the big regret was it was the wrong situation. Do you guys remember in 2016 the situation the Broncos were in, why they did that play and risked Justin Simmons jumping over?
It was extra point wins it.
Yes, the Saints had just scored a touchdown with Drew Brees and Sean Payton on that sideline, and to tie the game up at 23-23. The extra point would have given them a 24-23 lead with like 40 seconds left or a minute 10 left or something, or even less. And so the Broncos dial up a risky play where this is no longer legal, but it was back then. It's no longer legal because Justin did it properly. He jumps over, blocks it, very aggressive because so many things can go wrong there. Will Parks runs it back for 2 points. Broncos end up winning 25-23 in that game. So Sean wanted an equally as aggressive call, and it was totally different situation because that was an extra point. This was a 60-yard field goal where this kicker's long was 54 heading into this game.
Yeah, so this is an interesting thing where your own preparation can be your demise. You go through this stuff throughout the week, and you over-prepare on all of these situations so that you know exactly what to do, because as a football coach or anyone on a coaching staff, you have all these decisions to make in very short order. So you have to just be thinking so fast, and that's why they go out of their way to prepare all of this stuff throughout the week. Okay, if we have a game-winning field goal on the line, we're calling this block. We don't even have to think about it. It's already done. The job is done. And it's because of that the Broncos ended up in this situation. Because you're trying to keep everything easy on yourself in the game. And what happened was the coaching staff, and I don't really know if it's Sean who's calling the special teams play.
He said at some point yesterday that when it's that situation, it is him.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'd imagine so. It's the special teams coordinator who does all the scouting and figures out how you want to try to block one during the week if you do this, and then tell Sean, make sure Sean approves, and then you go through, you practice it because that's your block this week, and then when the time comes, it'd be Sean who calls the block.
Yeah. So in the end, they go with their preparation and just like lose sight of the fact of what was actually happening in front of them. What was happening in front of you is a guy was outside of his range and was going to be overextending himself. And you honestly could have put out 11 players and had them sit 1 foot inside the sideline and probably won the game. And Sean does take some responsibility here. I'm not putting it entirely on him because this is also where I need my special teams coordinator, anyone on that staff, to come over into the huddle. There's a timeout right before this. Come over into the huddle and just go through all of the things. Don't put your hand on anyone's back and jump. Don't run into the center. Do not rough the kicker. That's what I was saying after the game. Like, that should have been taken care of. And as much as everyone, wants to complain about the call was correct.
Yeah.
It was the way that the rule was applied correctly. And so, I'm not putting that on Sean Payton, who has a million things going on. He's managing the clock. He's figuring out all this stuff. He's trying to make a plan to go over and tell everyone the rules again. But as a special team staff, I think you do. So it's partly on the play call, which never needed to be called. It's partly on the special team staff for not reminding everyone of the rules. And it's partly on the players for not knowing the rules. I mean, these are it's just all three were wrong.
Yeah. And, sorry, wait, really quick. And the thing that sucks about it is you're right. The penalty was called correctly. Sean Payton admitted that. You can't put your hand on someone and then try to jump up. And that's what Tillman did. Unfortunately, it wasn't successful. Like, he got a foot in the air because he like slipped while doing it. Two, it didn't impact the play at all. And obviously, three, it led to them getting the retry and a total field goal right there. But like, you can't do that. But then why it goes back to coaching again. Parker Gabriel went back and watched every single special teams field goal that DeAndre Tillman's been on the field for. He's never been lined up in that position. And I just hate at the most important time of a game that you put a player in a position that he hasn't been in. Now, I'm sure he's been in that position in practice, but man, there were 54 of these before, and Tillman's never been in that position. I just don't like that from a coaching perspective of in the crucial part of a game, you putting a guy in a position he's never been in a game.
Right. At the same time, though, like that's the play you call, though. It's like when push comes to shove, the play we want to call here for a long field goal is something where we can block it because the trajectory is going to be low. So who's our best jumper? Who can get up the highest? I would have said Caleb Lohner would have been that guy, but hey, that's just me.
Remember when they put Brock Osweiler in on one once?
No way.
There you go. See,
6'7".
like I would have said, that's probably the guy you want in that role, but they say we want
Caleb
somebody who's
Lohner, to
already
be
out
fair,
there.
on practice squad.
True. So you would have had to elevate him every week, or this week in particular, if this was the specific block he had this week. But yeah, so Dondre, though, yeah, I don't mind bumping him inside because you obviously practice the play. You say, if we need the block, this is the guy we want in this spot to do the blocking. But I also think when you call a play like that, sometimes it can lead to a penalty. Like, you can tell him, don't do this. But I think there's a part of it where habitually, or like instinctively, you go to jump over somebody. There's going to be a part of you that wants to put that arm down.
Yes,
like it just instinct is just to do that.
I think you made a perfect analogy on the post-game show when you said, like, if you're jumping over a fence, you're going to put one hand on the fence to lift yourself over.
I don't remember saying that, but that is smart. I agree. I did make a good one. But yeah, no, that's just something that can happen. As much as you tell them this, especially when you don't get the guy pinned down, there's just all this chaos you bring into it when you say sell out to block this instead of we're going with our normal rush. We'll send our guys a little bit off the edge, but we're not going to be trying too hard to pin these guys down and jump over. Yeah, it's tough because, like you said, they changed the rules so you can no longer get the running start and jump over. Instead, you have to be starting from a standstill, and that's why you need somebody else to pin the guy down to be able to jump from lining up within a yard of the line of scrimmage to jump over. It's just a chaotic play that you don't go to there. You just don't call it.
Yeah, and then Sean was asked about why specifically Tillman there, and did you like his leaps, his athleticism? And Sean one more time took blame, and let's just hear this final one from him.
No, we felt Tillman had jumped pretty well. The idea was to work 90 of their field goal protection unit who lined up at left guard. Where DJ is going to be able to push down. That's legal. And then right at the last minute, they flip sides inside. And so now we're on a different defender or different offensive blocker. And so, but I think, no, to your question, I think Tillman has some pretty good leaps and just ended up, we ended up on the wrong side and we didn't execute it. And before any and all of that, though, we should be working a normal rush, a normal interior rush with a 60-yard attempt.
So another interesting thing that Sean said there was the Colts actually changed their formation and changed their two guards. So then Tillman was actually on a guy that he shouldn't have been on because of a last-second move.
Well, so it was actually – so yeah, the Colts guard has always been the left guard. That's Grover Stewart. I did the fun work of watching every Colts field goal this year. Luckily, it's only week 2. What the Broncos did is they switched. The Broncos are the ones who made the last-second switch inside when I think Dondre bumped Inu Uzarike over to the DJ Jones side and then swooped in over on the other side. And so I think it was the Broncos who made the last-second switch that Sean is talking about. And then obviously it didn't work. You don't get the guy pinned down. It's not DJ doing the pinning, who's the guy who they'd have practicing that. Just Yeah, there is plenty of blame to go around, including right there. It seems like Dondre was the one who said, I want to go on this side, when he shouldn't have gone on that side.
This just feels like high school shit to me, honestly. Like, this is not an acceptable reason to lose for a professional football team.
Especially one where you hire Sean Payton, you're giving him $20 million a year. He is a great coach. I still believe Sean's a great coach.
Course.
This stuff is not supposed to happen under his watch. It's not.
But but I don't blame it on Sean. It's like, it's just
This is his team.
I know. In the end, the buck stops with him for sure. But it was like a perfect storm of mental lapses and errors and bad calls and misunderstandings. And it was just like, I don't know. It really could have all just been solved by saying, go out there, don't rough the kicker, and get your hands up.
Yeah, and don't leverage either. So you would have had to conclude that in.
Well, I'm just saying, you're not even trying to do anything crazy. You're just trying to get a push, put your hands up.
Yeah. So, Henry, you said there's a lot of blame to go around. I want to look at beyond just this play. Who you guys would put this game on? Is it Tillman? Is it Sean for calling that play? Is it something else? Let's take a bigger picture look at this game to wrap this conversation up before we move on to the Chargers game in Week 3, and I want to do that after I give a shout out to our friends over at Colorado Soccer Association, which is the official hub for 65 plus soccer clubs across the state. And they offer programs for youth players, adult players, coaches, referees, and families who want to get involved in the game. Literally, everyone could fall under one of those categories. So if you want to get involved, scan the QR code on the screen or go to coloradosoccer.org. Kids can kick off their soccer journey as early as age of 3. I feel like everyone plays soccer growing up, and you can start as early as 3 here. Whether you're playing for fun, competitive at the highest level, or exploring a career in soccer, there's something for everyone, and you can be part of history because the 2026 World Cup is coming to the U.S., and a new NWSL team, Denver Summit, is joining Colorado. There's never been a more exciting time to join the soccer community in Colorado than right now. And if you want to get involved, go to coloradosoccer.org to find a club near you and be part of the future of the game. That's Colorado Soccer Association.
And Rocky Mountain Cancer Centers wants to remind you that it's Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. For more than 30 years, Rocky Mountain Cancer Centers has been standing with Colorado families, treating more adults with cancer than anybody else in the state. And it's that sort of loyalty that should resonate with you guys, a bunch of very loyal Broncos fans. You've seen a lot of tough seasons. You've also seen some really nice seasons, but whatever it takes, whatever happens, we know as sports fans that you stand with the team, and that's what they're all about over there, is that kind of loyalty. When life gets tough, they never stop showing up. Like I said, Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. Prostate cancer is more common than you think. It affects 1 in 8 men, which is why it's so important to go get checked, because it's highly treatable if you catch it early enough. If you're 50 or older, or if you're younger but have a family history of prostate cancer, go get screened. Then be a good teammate. Check in with the people around you. Text the group chat, all that sort of stuff. Send people over there. Rocky Mountain Cancer Centers is the official sponsor of Denver sports fans. Head to RockyMountainCancerCenters.com to learn more.
And shout out to the Toyota chat. It's popping off right now. And what I want people to do, if they're tuning in live in the Toyota chat, let us know who you would blame this loss on. And then if you're tuning in later, let us know in the comments below. And guys, honestly, I don't think there's a right or a wrong answer here, and the Toyota chat is clearly having that debate right now. A couple people said that J.K. Dobbins was to blame because he had that spike after. Some other people say exactly what Ryan just said. No way he was what got the offense going. Other people say Bo Nix, some Will Lutz, some Sean Payton. So, Henry, who's to blame?
I don't believe in football that it comes down to one guy most often. I think there's so many players who you can look at who had their chance to win the game for them. You start with, the last domino is always the easiest to look at. And the last domino was that last play that gave him a second chance. And, Sean, if he doesn't call that, Broncos win. Dondre, if he doesn't jump over the guy, change things, Broncos win. You go down to the other end. If it's not 1st and 25 when you get down to the end of the game, then the Broncos probably have a better chance of winning. Adam Troutman had the face mask that set that up. Will Lutz misses the field goal. You make that, Broncos have a real chance of winning. If you want to go before that, Jonathan Cooper had the ball that hit both of his hands and he could have intercepted. And instead, they get points off of that. He could have won the Broncos the game there.
He just hit one hand.
Did it just hit one hand?
Yeah.
He had the ball that hit one hand. touch it, you catch it. Could have caught it. You go to Pat Surtain on the 3rd and 6. You have him stopped on that final drive. It looks like you can get off the field in 2 plays and win the game. Alec Pierce is too fast for him on a drag route, and boom, they convert it. Now they're even closer to field goal. Like, the list goes on and on. Alex Singleton gives up the 2 big plays to Jonathan Taylor, loses footing on one, gets caught in traffic. Tough situations, tough job, tough assignment for him. Those plays, you stop one of the 2, I think Broncos probably win. But I think if you had to pick somebody, it's easiest just to go to the last domino and said, you had the last chance to save this game, and then it's down to Dondre Tillman or Sean Payton. But that's how football works.
Yeah. You can't put this on one person. It was a calamity of errors that took place towards the end of the game that really put this team in this position. But a couple things here that really make me sick. The Broncos went up 28-20.
Mm-hmm.
They scored 0 points there and allowed themselves to lose the game on 3 field goals.
Disgusting.
That just bothers me so much. Like, you didn't even really make them beat you. You just let them go down there, fizzle out, kick a field goal, go down there, fizzle out, kick a field goal, and do it another time to beat you. So the fact that you weren't able to put a single point on the board after going up 8, that's a big problem for me. Now, who's to blame for that? Well, it's partly Bo Nix for throwing an interception. It's partly J.K. Dobbins and Adam Troutman for combining for 20 yards and penalties that pushed Will Lutz back.
Yep.
And it aided him in missing a very makeable field goal. So there's plenty of people to go.
And I think going back to the Bo Nix interception, it's Grover Stewart and Forrest Buckner gets right. Who gets the hand on the pass.
Yep.
And that's Quinn Miners who gets knocked back. So is it Quinn Miners for not just holding his ground, making a good block, and would be no interception if not for that.
And then this will come up in something you guys will hear a little bit later, but Adam Hoge pointed it out. The Broncos last season were 1-6 in 1-score games. And a lot of this type of stuff, these types of conversations were happening afterwards. And I don't understand what's going on that causes the Broncos to play worse in the 4th quarter. If anything, the team that trains at altitude should be sharper in the 4th quarter in a place like Indianapolis. There's something going on with this team where it seems like these types of errors take place for them more often than not when the game is on the line late. Muffed punts, just stupid stuff that should never happen. I mean, it happened last week. Special teams errors. So that one, to me, it has to go to the top. That does go to Sean Payton. He's got to teach this team how to have killer instinct. I don't know what's going on with them, that it seems like they're wilting in the biggest moments of the game. And that's across the board, all the people we just named off that could be blamed for this.
And that's why I'm just so disappointed with Sean Payton, is because my expectations were, and by the way, still are, extremely high for Sean. Ryan, a big reason why you traded a 1st and a 2nd round pick and paid Sean Payton $20 million a year is because he knows how to win in big games. He constantly got the Saints to the playoffs. He got them to the NFC Championship multiple times. He got them over the hump for a Super Bowl. That's why you go with him over a D'Amico Ryans, over Kevin O'Connell, is because he has that experience. He has shown that he can do that. Why isn't this team doing it? So I completely agree with you, and that's why I do look at the very top. But for me, guys, what I'm about to say next is a positive and a negative, and I have to start with the negative here. I think there's more people, whether it's coaches or players, that there's fewer people that you don't blame than people than you blame. I think there's more people that you point around and say, that's why they lost the game, than why you didn't. You mentioned Quinn Miners. Mm-hmm. I was actually going to say the offensive line is not a reason you lost that game, and you kind of poked a hole into that one by pointing to that. Troy Franklin is not a reason you lost that game. Outside of that, I might stop right there. It might be like 6 guys are a reason why you didn't lose the game. One thing that hasn't been talked about, at least enough today, I know you guys talked about it yesterday and the day before, the defense was terrible. Terrible.
Yeah.
I don't care who the quarterback is, but especially Daniel Jones throws for 300 yards on you, and at the same time, Jonathan Taylor has 160 rushing yards and 210 yards from scrimmage. You give up almost 500 yards to this Colts team.
Yeah.
Look, Tyler Warren, he's a great player right now. This is his second game in the NFL. You got Pat Surtain on him, and Pat Surtain had one of his worst games, maybe his worst game in the NFL.
He was
Riley Moss
banged up for the second half.
He was, but still, he didn't have a great game. Riley Moss, he got beat deep. The linebackers, both of them, missed tackles, missed assignments, got blocked up. That allowed Jonathan Taylor to break free. Special teams wasn't good. The offense completely shriveled in the second half. I mean, guys, in their first 6 possessions, they scored 4 touchdowns. You can't give me 1 field goal after that in the final 3 possessions to make it a 2-possession game, and boom, you win right there.
Yeah.
Like, that's what disappoints me. Now, the positive spin on this is that more guys than not, in my opinion, you can blame more guys than not that lost the game. And you still came 1 point to beating a good team. I don't think anyone's, at least I'm not sitting here thinking the Colts are a Super Bowl contender, but they look like a playoff team right now. And you came 1 point to beating them with like really bad play there. So it does on the road as well. So that is an encouraging sign. Like, okay, man, the Broncos played a really bad game pretty much all around and still almost won. That's big picture. In the moment, I'm pissed off because of how many things went wrong. Big picture, it's like, okay, this is a good football team.
I also think like it's hard to do because during the week everyone says, "Oh, this defense versus Daniel Jones, like they're just gonna absolutely smash him." So then when he goes out and plays really well, it's like, "Oh my God, the defense was trash. I can't believe they let me be so wrong." Daniel Jones was just actually amazing.
Yes.
Like
yes.
Like I don't. Two things can be true. The defense could have been better, which is true. And Daniel Jones was awesome. Like, I mean, we're talking muddy pocket, changing the arm angle, delivering it right on the numbers. I mean, there's so many times where I saw him release the ball and I'm like, there's no way. And then it's just a strike. Right. So you have to just tip your cap sometimes. Great game plan by Shane Steichen. He had man beater after man beater after man beater, knowing what the Broncos were going to do in big situations. Great delivery by Daniel Jones of the game plan. Jonathan Taylor is a great player. We know that. Sometimes you just say like, hey, their game plan was better than ours. Our guys tried to, did everything they could. We almost won. We should have won. Let's go back to the drawing board.
Right. I think they made Daniel Jones make some tough throws. Like
a lot of them.
And first of all, so he hits all of those. There are also receivers making tough catches. Like how many times was their receiver kind of coming back to the ball, diving and getting like those scoop catches?
Yep.
Every time I thought, oh, that one's got to hit the ground, right? And he winds up 23 of 34. Completes 68% of his passes. If those 3 wind up hitting the ground instead of like being perfectly cradled like this, he's 20 of 34. He's a 58% completion. Like that's how slim the narrows are, the margins are. I think so Daniel Jones plays the game of his life. Like you look back and say, how do you not miss a receiver? How do you get the ball out that quickly? There were so many plays where Nick Benito's a half step away and doing everything you could have asked him to do as a pass rusher, but they're calling plays to get the ball out quicker than that. And you're just not covering quickly enough. And part of that's because they're hitting you deep early. So you feel like you have to sit back. That affects the running game. Good blocking from the offensive line. But still, you feel like you have Jonathan Taylor bottled up quite a few times. And it's Jonathan Taylor. And so he's just slippery and he gets through and he's breaking every single arm tackle. And because of that, you have to be attacking more in the front 7. But when they're passing the ball the way they are, when the blitz isn't getting home because they're getting the ball so quickly in the passing game as well, you feel like you need more support in the middle of the defense, and so they're not willing to attack. Because we saw at the end of the game, when they knew the Colts were running the football, they stopped the run. Like they weren't popping up big games. It was 4 yards, it was 2 yards, it was no yards, and that's because they were sending guys the middle. They were playing run first, but the Colts just hit them early so that they couldn't do that. And the decent run defense I thought they played on a down-to-down basis just wasn't good enough because, again, Jonathan Taylor is just making them look bad.
Yeah, it wasn't good run defense. I don't think I can say it.
No, it
was
wasn't
decent. It was bad, in my opinion. And oh, shoot, you said something there that I wanted to hit. Well, Sean had no excuses for the defense. He was not very happy with the defense yesterday. As you could probably imagine, an offensive coach being. Let's hear from Sean, and I want to do that after I give a shout out to our friends over at Coors Light. On Sunday, I know Coors Lights were flowing. On Saturday, I know they're flowing. They're going to be flowing this Saturday and Sunday as well. We got some big games up at CSU, up in Boulder, where Wyoming's coming down to play the Buffs. And I know that Coors Light is going to be the official beer of that game. It's the official beer of us. And if you just need to chill, whether it's during a game, whether it's after a game, whether it's before a game, whether it's today, I think it's like 71 degrees outside. You get home, want to sit on your patio, Coors Light's perfect beer to chill with. You want to go to a bar, hang out on a patio, Coors Light is the beer to reach for. And you can even get Coors Light delivered straight to your home by going to CoorsLight.com/DNVR to get it sent straight to you. Choose Coors Light, get Coors Light delivered straight to your door using that CoorsLight.com/DNVR. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Beer.
Great ad from that anonymous reader there. Also, shout out to our friends over at Game Time. I have one ticket app on my phone. All the other ones are gone. There's just no point in having them. They don't have the same UX. They don't have the all-in pricing. They just aren't as smooth when you try to use them. It's just not worth it. And the prices are never as good. So that's why I only have Game Time on my phone. So when I'm looking to go to stuff like got Sturgill Simpson coming to Red Rocks in a couple days-ish. Might be tonight.
Fish-based
That's real?
band?
No, you're thinking of a sturgeon.
Oh, yeah. There we
I
go.
was
There
thinking
we
of
go.
the racing or the motorbike thing in Dakotas.
Yes,
Sturgis.
that is in
Yes.
Sturgis.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Well, you guys don't know ball, I guess. But anyways,
I guess
I'm
not.
checking out on Game Time to see the best prices possible, and it's always there. And I'm a procrastinator. I want to go to a concert. I'm thinking about it the night of the concert.
Yeah.
And then I look it up and I try to get tickets, and Game Time always rewards me for that. So shout out to our friends over at Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code DNVR for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code DNVR for $20 off. Tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today.
Ryan, I don't know music, but you know what I do know?
What?
I know Bell. It's Taco Tuesday, baby.
Yes.
It is the time to celebrate. And Henry got here extra early to celebrate Taco Tuesday. Let's see the celebration.
It's Taco Tuesday, and that means our good friends over at Taco Bell gave us a lot of options. Starting with the caramel apple empanada. I've had a few of these now.
You
They're
have?
so good.
I haven't
so
had any.
good.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I definitely recommend one of these.
Okay.
These are the 7-layer burritos. So I'm not from the Y2K generation. Should say this is part of their decades menu. So the Y2K menu is what we have today.
Do you know what Y2K is?
I do.
Okay,
It was
all
when
right.
everybody thought they were going to die because of computers. But
That's
then,
correct. Yeah.
My understanding is it worked out fine.
We're still here.
Yeah, we are still here. So I grew up with the beefy 5-layer burrito.
Mm-hmm.
I'd imagine similar, but I'm not sure what the extra 2 layers would be.
I mean, it can only be a good thing.
Yeah, I think I've got to try that one. Doritos, Locos, Tacos. This is the Cool Ranch version.
Yep.
Those are a staple. And then, of course, we have the chili cheese burrito down here. Nice and simple, and I think that might be where I go first.
I'm going Cool Ranch Doritos.
That's it. Can't go wrong. Can't go wrong.
Let's try.
So I rarely use the sauces.
Yeah.
Ryan swears by it.
I'm a what is it? Diablo? Is that the hottest?
That is.
I like the hottest one. I'm a Diablo guy.
Wow, I certainly am not. I might take a little bit of the mild. The thing is, the Taco Bell's so good, even without the sauce, that I just have never had like the urge to.
That sauce just adds a little something
Does
extra,
it?
man.
Oh, I
a little
can't wait.
something extra. All right, I'm going
can't
for
wait.
it.
See, I always get the nacho cheese, but I do appreciate that there are people out there who prefer the Cool Ranch.
Cool Ranch is good.
Is it good?
I've never had it. It's good.
Oh, interesting. Let's see. I'm gonna. I feel like you need to bite into the burrito first before you can go with the sauce.
You have to. Yeah.
Right? Okay.
That is a rule. Yeah.
That's a good one.
All right, I'm going for Sophia. I have not had one of these.
They're so good.
Okay. That's fire.
They
That's
really
insane.
pack stuff in there. Too.
This is too
like
good.
it's so full. Like
Yeah.
typically it feels like you get something like that and there's just like a little bit of filling. So much in there.
That's too good.
Yep. This is my first sauce bite. Very excited about it. It's good sauce.
It's empanada, man. Whew.
So good.
Shouts Taco Bell. Taco
Shouts
Tuesday.
Taco Tuesday. Yeah, we love Taco Tuesday. It's just nothing better. Love our friends over at Taco Bell.
I will be going to Taco Bell right after this to celebrate. And maybe you'll see Sean Payton there getting some delicious fuel because, guys, he wasn't too pleased with the defense yesterday. Let's hear from Sean.
Well, no, it's something I just think in our groupings we can.
That was Sean from last week. You here's dialing up Sean from yesterday talking about the defense. And there's one stat that he starts off with that blows my mind and is just a recipe for disaster for any defense when they're put in this position. And it's something that Sean pointed out right at the start.
Well, look, they averaged 9.8 yards on first down. They obviously came out throwing to run. We busted some fire zone coverages. Late in the game, we did a better job of peeling on the running back in certain looks. But early in the game, we've got the runner coming out of the backfield uncovered. It's the second week in a row that we've allowed points on the first drive of a game. That's concerning.
I don't know how you win a game when you give up a first down every single first down. 9.8 yards.
That hit me in the chest.
Yeah, you literally audibly gasped.
Yeah. I cannot believe that, man. I don't like I said, sometimes you just tip your cap. Great game plan, obviously. Great delivery by all of their players. Their receivers were on their shit. The quarterback was delivering. But this defense is so much better than that. They can't have that happen, and they're going to be challenged again from a game plan perspective this week by the Chargers. They got to look themselves in the mirror and remember who they are.
One of the things that Sean said in there was it's concerning that the defense has now allowed points on the first two drives in the first 2 weeks. And for me, I was reminded of something that Vance Joseph said after that San Francisco game, the first preseason game. Remember, Mac Jones goes down there against the starting defense, gets a touchdown. And after that game, Vance said, I'd like that. I wanted to see how our team would respond after that. Okay. Enough with that. We don't need to see it anymore.
We don't like it
Yeah,
anymore.
no. Let's not see how the team battles back through adversity after a first score. They need to figure out a way to start hot. And it reminds me of the conversation that Ryan, you and I had too many times in the Vance Joseph era of how does this team start faster? How does it start hotter? Vance needs to find a way to get these guys to start faster because it's now concerning to Sean. And it's not just like a one-off thing now. It's a trend. And so on first down, they need to start off better. At the start of the game, they need to start off better. And that's a lot of things because the pieces are there, right?
Yeah. I think there was a little bit of arrogance in the game plan and the calls throughout the game by the defense as well. Like, I think that Vance just thought, if I keep heating up Daniel Jones, he's eventually going to make a big mistake and he's going to throw it to us. And to his credit, that's what we were saying on the watch along the whole time. Like, he's going to give us one. He's going to give us one eventually. Now, I guess Jonathan Cooper could have had that one, but he really didn't. And I think that the arrogance was like, we're just going to keep doing what we do. But I think where they messed up is they could have thrown a couple curveballs in there. They got so comfortable with the man beaters, and they had dialed up so many of them in the game planning that, like, you should have given a few more where it looks like man and it turns into zone, and maybe you get him, you get him to make a mistake that way. But it felt like there was just a little bit of arrogance in the game, in the play calls on defense.
Yeah, and that first down stat, obviously first downs are bad. That's when you gave up the 68 yards to Jonathan Taylor. You gave up the 44 yards to Alec Pierce up the sideline, 41 to Tyler Warren. Those plays kind of skew it. And for a second, I thought it wasn't too bad because 15 of the 35, so 43%, went for 2 yards or less, which is a really good rate. Unfortunately, 3 of those were actually negated by Broncos penalties that made them go further. So it winds up being like 1 in 3 about go for 2 yards or less. I don't know that that's the stat that I would have circled as saying, like, here's what was going wrong. But just kind of interesting to look at. All the times they got hit for big plays were on first downs. And
the other thing that Vance and the defense and the inside linebackers need to figure out is how Alex or Dre Greenlaw or Justin Strnad don't get caught up in the traffic there, Because if I'm the Chargers, what I'm doing until they're able to stop it is I'm just leaking out Najee Harris out of the backfield. I'm leaking out Amari Hampton out of the backfield. I'm doing that with Saquon all freaking day because there was just the traffic was getting them. That's not all on Alex Singleton. It's about just the way the defense is. So they need to figure that out right away, or else that's my play every other play this Sunday if I'm the Chargers.
They never got that figured out last year. Like, that was their biggest weakness, is every week they were getting hit for a wheel route. That's why, like, during training camp, one of RJ Harvey's first big plays was on a wheel route up the sideline. It's like, well, good play, RJ. Also, the Broncos give that up to everybody every week. And there are a bunch of different reasons for it. One is obviously man coverage. It's tough for a linebacker to get through traffic and get up there. But also against zone, it's tough to account for that. When you're playing that match zone coverage, there are a lot of ways where you get those guys pulled out and it opens up the space behind. It's a Vance Joseph defense problem that, it does need to get fixed.
Yeah, it's not. It won't. The way to fix it is call different plays.
Yeah.
Like, if you can protect long enough to throw a wheel route against man coverage, you're going, especially against a blitz, you're going to hit it. And the problem is that they're not even, like, they're so far off on the coverage that it didn't even have to turn into a wheel. It might as well have just been a swing to Jonathan Taylor. But, like, the ones that are down the field, up the sidelines, like, you will just get beat on those. If you go back and watch the 2016 AFC Championship game against Tom Brady, they tried that, like, 6 times in the game, and they just couldn't hit it. Like, there's a drop from the James White, I think it was. Brady missed it. But, like, when you're playing against a heavy man team, that's the way to hit a big play on them. So it's not going to just, like, get fit. There's nothing you can't just tell Alex Singleton, run faster. Like, it's gonna be there. But the key is to get the pressure home before they can get that out.
Yeah,
or at least force them to turn the corner from a route running perspective before they can throw that.
And Alex is not alone in not being able to defend that. Like, I don't know if there's
like 3 linebackers in the league.
And I struggle to even name them.
So I want to dive a little bit more into not the defense that we saw on Sunday, but the defense that we've seen the last 8 or so games from Vance Joseph and mostly this Broncos group tomorrow. And I want to ask you guys, is Dre Greenlaw the fix to exactly what we're talking about right now? Is he the fix to some of these issues that the Broncos are having? But it's a bigger conversation, so let's save that for tomorrow. One thing we don't have to save for tomorrow, guys, we've got a new show dropping in 18 minutes at 1 p.m.
breaking news horns
Denver time.
Play, like
let's get it. Let's get it up. Well, why don't we just see who it is? No one knows who this new show is.
Maybe the most legendary Coloradan ever.
So there was the astronaut.
Sports Colorado.
Okay.
And then there you go.
If we're saying no astronauts, it's pretty easy.
Let's drop the preview for the new show that's dropping in literally less than 20 minutes.
What's up, everybody? This is Benny Fowler with DNVR. We have an exciting new show, but I knew I had to find the right voice for this show.
So how about the voice of the Broncos?
Touchdown, Denver! Oh, baby, they're going to win this thing! We're going to be doing a deep dive into each Broncos game every single week.
Just a couple of former NFL wide receivers sharing their takes and analysis on the Broncos all season long.
Talk soon, Broncos Country. Yes, sir!
Let's freaking go, Dave Logan. Welcome to the DNVR fam. It's so cool to see the legend, Dave Logan, rocking the DNVR merch.
And just to hear his voice while he's wearing it.
Yeah, it is nice.
Like, all of my Broncos memories are tied to Dave Logan calls from when I'm a kid. I even had this, like, CD after they won in 96 that, like, it was like a combination of music and Dave Logan calls.
Wow.
Like, I to this day, the song "Taking Care of Business," that, like, is so closely associated with the Broncos to me, because there was, like, a track on there that was, like, playing that song, but then there's, like, overlay of, like, Dave Logan highlights. I wish I could find that and play it, but
that sounds awesome.
For those of you who don't know, Dave Logan played for the Buffs, went to the NFL, drafted in 3 sports.
Yep.
Only guy ever.
Only guy ever. MLB, NBA, NFL. Drafted by all of those. An unbelievable athlete. Then he becomes arguably, and a lot of people argue this, arguably the best high school coach in Colorado football history.
He is.
And the voice of the Broncos.
Yep. That after a career in the NFL.
What an insane, like, not just an insane run in one thing, just like the versatility of Dave Logan.
It's nuts.
It's unbelievable. So it's really cool to have him under our umbrella.
He gets one-on-ones with Sean Payton every single week, the only person to get that in the world. And I know he's going to be bringing guests on as well. So hit us with a thumbs up. That show is dropping at 1 p.m. right as our show wraps up. So make sure to find it on YouTube. It's also over anywhere you get podcasts. It's on its own podcast channel, Broncos, X's and O's, but it is on our YouTube channel. So make sure to watch that right when this show ends. And it's a weekly show, so you're going to get that every single week. And before we get to our interview with Adam Hoge, which is great. I mean, we're going from an interview with Adam Hoge to then Broncos X's and O's. What a time to be a Broncos fan. I want to give a shout out to our friends over at the delicious Taco Bell. Celebrate Taco Tuesday today at Taco Bell. Henry and Harrison did a great job showing you their Y2K menu. They've also got the Buffs box, which in my opinion is the best value in food, in delicious food that you can get anywhere. It is featuring 4 Taco Bell classics, including a CU Player Cup featuring Jordan Seaton, Juju Lewis, Quentin Gibson, and then you can also support CU Athletics by going to Taco Bell, because all year long, Taco Bell is giving $1,000 to the Golden Buff Scholarship Fund for every touchdown that the Buffs score. Really, really cool, but Taco Bell, it's delicious food. And the one that doesn't get enough credit, from my opinion, the Crunchwrap Supreme is absolutely my favorite. So check out Taco Bell. Live Moss at Taco Bell.
And shout out to End Credit Union. End Credit Union is awesome for a bunch of reasons, including that they're the official banking partner of the Denver Broncos. And because of that, they've created Broncos checking account that's built for fans just like me and you. It's loaded with all sorts of perks. There are the important perks, things like there are no surprise fees. There are no minimum balance requirements. The money in your Broncos checking account even earns dividends. This is all the stuff that you need when you start a new checking account. But because it's a Broncos checking account, you get other perks like 10% off food and gear on game days and Empower Field at Mile High. You get a Broncos branded debit card so that you can rep the team. You also get the chance to win Broncos home game tickets. Every time that you use the card 15 times to purchase something, you get one more chance to win another set of tickets. A whole bunch of really cool stuff going on over there. So if you're ready to bank like a Bronco, go to ent.com/DNVR. It's ent.com/DNVR and sign up for Broncos checking today. Ent Credit Union is insured by NCUA. Membership required. APY, annual percentage yield. Account requires associate Ent Broncos debit card.
All right, let's toss to our interview with our guy, Adam Hoge. You're going to enjoy this fun conversation here. We are joined by All-City NFL analyst, our guy, Adam Hoge, coming to you live from Chicago. Hoge, what's going on?
What's up, guys? You recovered yet from that loss? I mean, as somebody that's used to watching heartbreaking, controversial losses all the time, I feel for you guys right now.
Yeah, we've seen quite a fair share of our own losses over the last 10 years. So I don't know. I don't know if many of them were as heartbreaking as that one, because it's just one of those ones that you're going to be talking about for the rest of the year every time you look at the standings.
Yeah, I felt for Sean Payton a little bit, especially hearing him yesterday talk about how he probably should have called the dogs off and not even had a field goal block on that play. As a high school special teams coordinator, we actually had a similar situation Friday night where we're down 7. So the score was a little different, but it's 3rd down and the other team's on the edge of field goal range. And if they kick that field goal to go up 10, right, the game's essentially over. And so on 3rd down during the timeout, we're having that same conversation, guys. We're like, man, do we try to block this thing, but then you risk a penalty and then all of a sudden the game's over if you give them the 1st down, versus do you just let them kick it because they're on the edge of their range? And I know the kicker has the leg, but does he have the accuracy? So those are real conversations that you're having all the time. And, I think my first instinct was to say, yeah, but you know what? The guy should know the leverage. Tillman obviously switched sides there, went against the side where they were supposed to be blocking. where they were going to attack the left guard. So did he just go rogue? When it's a 60-yard field goal, that ball's coming out low anyway. So to block it from the inside makes sense. Get some type of push. Usually you'll go like a 3-on-2 in that situation, and ideally get that guard pushed backwards about 2 yards, and then you can get your big paws up and potentially block it. And so I don't necessarily hate that, but there's one other wrinkle, and this is why I probably would have called the dogs off too, and it's easy to say in hindsight, but where the ball is matters. So if it's on the hash, it's easy, where the angle to the uprights are, there's a good chance that if you're over the guard, you can cover that angle and block it. With the rules these days where you can't even be over the long snapper, if you're right there in the middle of the field, which is where that kick was, it's very unlikely that if the ball is going straight that you're even going to block it. So you basically got to hope he just misses it. And from that distance, that probably would have been the right call. You want to trust your players. That's a tough situation to be in as a coach, so I get it from Sean Payton's standpoint.
Totally. And I think the other piece for Sean is that it's hard to give up control. Like, it's hard to say, we want them to have to make this play instead of I want my team to be able to go and block it. And I think for Sean in particular, saying like we're going to bank on the other team making a mistake instead of us going and making the play, it's just not, it's not how he's built.
Yeah, and you want to trust your players. They obviously practice that block. Again, did they ever explain why he switched sides last second? Did they ever give that explanation?
So what Sean said was actually the Colts switched sides at the last second. Leading up to that field goal, the two guards had been on opposite sides, and then for this field goal, those guards had changed. So Tillman was on the right side for what the play was called, but the Colts had changed it up, so it totally messed everything up. So going into it, the Broncos were just lined up poorly because of the Colts making a last-second change.
So Sean said that, but I went back and watched every field goal the Colts have kicked this year. Number 90's on the left side every single time.
Well, then Sean was confused.
Yeah.
But again, when the ball's right there in the middle, when you can't be over the center, it's very unlikely that you're going to be able to actually block it through the middle. Here's my other part on this. This is just more of a hot take. Like, from just a neutral observer watching that whole sequence, the Colts didn't deserve that. That was the most conservative nonsense I've ever seen, like settling for a 60-yard field goal there. I mean, the clock management, you had all the time in the world if you're the Colts to get closer and closer and closer. They got so conservative. And I've seen so many coaches do this over the years. Mark Trestman did it. Matt Nagy did it. Matt Eberflus did it here in Chicago. And all three of them paid the price for doing it. And so for the Colts to actually be rewarded for being that conservative on a bailout, now I do think they got the call right, and that part sucks. You could debate the rule, but the rule is the rule. But it's like bailing out a shooter when there's just no offense the entirety of the shot clock, and then right at the last second, it's like a ticky-tack foul to put him at the free throw line. It's just annoying.
That was actually exactly the way I thought about it after it happened. It was like, okay, so the other team has 0.4 seconds on the clock. They're going to be able to throw the ball in and heave it at the goal. You want to contest the shot, but you want to do anything you can to avoid getting a foul. That's the only way you're going to lose. And the Broncos fouled them from 3/4 court. Yeah. It is what it is. Let's move on. Let's leave this in the past. I'm ready. Broncos Chargers this weekend. Big, huge game for the Broncos now, especially after that result. I'm just kind of curious what like the national perspective is on these two teams going into this week.
Yeah, I mean, first I'll start with your team because I've watched closely over the last couple weeks. Both of these teams are well coached. I think Sean Payton is doing exactly what you guys wanted when they went out and hired him, implement his system. The only question, was I guess the same question that Jim Harbaugh has with the Chargers. Would it work in a second location? Obviously, Sean Payton's tenure in New Orleans was longer, well established, but what Jim Harbaugh did very, very quickly with the 49ers basically a decade ago now, I think you're starting to see that with the Chargers at the same time. And he's known for turning programs around. It took a little bit longer at Michigan, but they finally got there. So whether it was college or the pro, he does do this. And I think you're already seeing that with the Chargers right now. these types of coaches, they have their identity. They have exactly what they want to be. Harbaugh, you're seeing that right now. They're going to have a good defense. They're going to run the ball. They're going to have a good offensive line, and they're going to win. They're going to be able to win games like they did last night against the Raiders. With that style of play, and I think the Raiders that we all saw last night, without Brock Bowers being 100%, they're really limited on weapons. But they made life hard for Geno Smith in a game where he had to throw the ball a lot. So I think this is a great Week 3 matchup between these two teams, divisional rivals. We're going to learn a lot about both of them. I think I had both teams going to the playoffs, so I still feel that same way at this point. With the Broncos so far, like, I think as hard as it is, you got to think about this positively. The real thing I was disappointed in, and I'm sure you guys have covered this, was just the inability to finish in the fourth quarter. To be down there in field goal range twice. And I thought Bo Nix played a lot better in Week 2 than Week 1. But, man, fourth quarter turnovers will kill you. Really, no matter who's to blame for it, they just can't happen. So you get that interception, and the second time you're down there, the penalties back you up. Will Lutz still has to hit that field goal. But you just in this league, you cannot blow games, especially on the road, when you have those opportunities to put teams away in the fourth quarter. So I guess that'll, especially when you look at the Broncos' one-score record last season being 1-6, these are things that you want to see turned around in this season. So that's another reason why that loss on Sunday was so hard to stomach.
And Hoge, I completely agree with you about this Week 3 game being a big one. The one AFC West team you didn't touch on, I got to ask you about. Are the Chiefs done? And when I say done, I don't mean are they going to go 0-17, but is it now the Chargers or the Broncos winning the AFC West this year after their first 0-2 start since 2014?
Yeah, well, not to pile on, another reason why, right, you wish you were 2-0 so you could have a couple games on the Chiefs. Look, the door's open. The door's open, there's no question, and I think that there's some serious issues in Kansas City that you have to address. I look at that organization, I still feel like they're such a well-oiled machine, though, to overcome things like this. They have an identity. They know what they want to be. They're not going to panic just because they're 0-2. I thought they were going to lose to the Eagles regardless. I had that pegged a couple weeks ago before the season started. It was really the loss to the Chargers that was more surprising. So I'm not panicking off of last week's result if I'm Kansas City. I do think you have to look yourself in the mirror a little bit, though, offensively, and realize that this has been a kind of a 3-year trend now where, I mean, this is not a team that scores 30 points a game anymore. They're down in closer to 21, and what you have to be worried about is that dipping lower and lower this year with some of the inconsistencies that you didn't used to have with the Travis Kelce, who's now, having a moment like he did the other day where he drops that pass. I think they'll be fine, but you're kind of smelling blood in the water right now if you're the Broncos and you're the Chargers. And I'll go back to the head coaching. These are good coaches. Sean Payton's a good coach. Jim Harbaugh's a good coach. They are also going to have a plan of attack. And so I can't wait to see when these teams match up more throughout the season, especially when you're playing the Chiefs, because if you want to go win this division, you got to win those matchups.
I love it. I love it, Hoge. That's incredible insight. We look forward to checking in with you throughout the season as it goes on. Final one for you, though. You mentioned before the season you thought the Broncos were a playoff team. After 2 weeks, I know it's still very early, has your opinion changed on that so far?
No, because they should be 2-0, and the Colts have obviously been surprising through 2 weeks. It's never easy to go on the road and win. You're going to have games like Sunday's game pop up no matter how good you are. So my opinion is not changed. I was a little worried about Bo after week 1. I'm not going to lie. So for him to bounce back and play much better in week 2 is good. And I like another thing I've already written about in my power rankings that we're putting out every week at alldnvr.com is the Talanoa Hufanga addition on defense. I've just always been such a big fan of that guy. Players that, I don't care how fast you are sometimes, how strong you are, when you find the football, when you're around the football, when you get your hands on the football and you have those instincts, I'm just a big fan of you. And that's that is Hufanga. That's what he was for the 49ers. When the Broncos signed him, I was very excited about that. And I think he's already making a difference. So I think there's enough pieces here that to me, this is a playoff team. I don't think they're going to go on some tailspin compared to what they built last year. Is it going to be easier? You're going to have games like Sunday? Sure. But overall, I still have the Broncos as a playoff team.
Hoge, you've got great football instincts. That's why we love catching up with you, just like Hufanga there. And we look forward to catching up with you all season long. That's going to do it for us on today's DNVR Broncos show. Shout out to Hoge. Go check out Broncos X's and O's with Dave Logan and Benny Fowler, which drops right now. We'll see you tomorrow on the DNVR Broncos podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.